Hi guys, Jen here, just doing an actual video because I can't do a live. But I wanted to hop on here while I had a second and while I'm in the whole experience here, and explain to you kind of what's going on with me right now. Um, I believe I'm jumping or I'm in between timelines right now, or we're having timelines that are collapsing for us. At least for me right now. I'm not sure if you guys resonate with this necessarily. If you do, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. You can just like foo if you want to. But basically, like even when I was okay, so for the past week, I've been seeing this like Subaru Forester car. Now, this to somebody would be like, okay, fine, they're all over the place. Everybody, uses them, whatever. Well, what's interesting is like for the last like today I saw two of them, and actually driving home I actually was behind one. And actually yesterday while I was going to CVS, I actually was behind another one. Now, this doesn't usually happen. I've lived in my town for years, and then all of a sudden all this stuff is happening, and I'm like, this is just a little bit too odd and a little bit too coincidental. So I'm like, okay, and this is why we have to like make sure that we are aware of these small little like coincidences, quote unquote, or synchronicities, because that's spirit telling us and being like making sure that if we're attuned to it, it's making us aware of changes that are coming. Things that are being like, hey, either it can be a spirit guide that's coming to you and saying, hey, this is me, I'm here. If you're struggling, I've got you. It could also be spirit or whoever saying, hey, you're at a precipice in your life right now where there's a change coming, and I want you to kind of at least be as prepared as you can be and be, like not as shocked when it comes and it rolls through. It could also be something to the degree of a loved one coming through and saying, hey, I see you. What you've been wishing for is actually kind of finally going to be coming to fruition now. Things like that. And it could also just be the universe or your higher self coming to you saying, hey, this is a different timeline that no longer serves you, and we're merging you with another timeline that's better suited for you and the lessons that you've come here to learn and how you're progressing. And so we're going to move you from this timeline to this timeline. And then if that one's not where you really want to go, and if you're progressing at a faster rate, we'll move you to this timeline. And that's kind of like where I am right now. I've noticed the last week since we've turned into March, basically things have been different. Like I noticed my back door, which is normally fine, and there's this weird thing that it doesn't close correctly and you have to lift it up to latch it because the wood on my actual house is rotting out, so it lists down, so it just like tilts. Big whole thing. But for the last 2 years I've been dealing with it, and you just pull it up a little bit and it's fine. Well, as of like last week, well actually Sunday, what is it, Monday? Well, it was like 3 days ago is when I really noticed it. Like I woke up and I felt awesome. Like all of a sudden I felt like finally refreshed for a degree. And I came downstairs, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. There's another thing to that. And I came downstairs and I was like, okay, I'm going to put the dog out like I've done a million times every single morning. And I open the door and I go and put him out, and I went to lift it up like I normally do. It's like a habit now. And I'm like, wait, it's not latching. Why is it not latching? This is weird. And I'm like sitting there like for a good 30 seconds trying to get the damn thing latched. And I'm like, that's really odd. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna notice that a little bit. I'm gonna come back to this. So then, what else I was doing is I was just like, okay, this is very interesting. And also going back to I woke up feeling refreshed was basically I had said that night to my angel guides and my spirit guides that basically to change my not schedule, but to change my chart a little bit, because I have a deviated septum and I've been having a lot of trouble with trying to get the sleep I need and lethargic and all this stuff. And I said, I can't be of service to you guys and spirit and source and enlighten people if I'm always constantly tired and stuff. I said, I made basically a promise. I said, if you guys could clear this up and figure it out, and I've had enough with trying to suffer through this. I've felt it. I've learned how it is to be this way. I've learned my whole lesson about being lethargic and all this stuff. I've pretty much had too much of it, and I also said something to the degree of, hey, if you can change this around. I mean, I think when I was on the other side, I overthought that I could deal with this, and I've had enough right now, so I'm good. I've learned the lesson. I don't need to keep going with this. It's not going to help anybody else out except for cause more of a problem. So I said, if you could, while I'm sleeping, and I asked the Galactic Federation, I asked my spirit guides, I asked Archangel Michael, Raphael, I asked all the people. I said, everybody that's of my highest and best good. Now, when you say that, you just say, of my highest and best good. Because you don't want to invite in anything that's not exactly nice and that's more playful and kind of weird. So you always just kind of be like, in the name of Jesus or whatever, and all the things that, if you want to say Jesus, you don't have to say Jesus. You can do whatever you want. But you can say in the name of all, whatever the sources that you believe in, and the entity, spirit, whatever. And just say for my highest good and the betterment of all. So basically I said that, and that's also a reason why. And then all of a sudden I woke up in the morning and I was breathing a lot better out of this nose. Now I've been dealing with this nasal thing for almost a full year now. Ever since I went to go to the ear, nose, throat person, and they put that little specula thing up my nose to see how it was agitated and whether or not it was closed or not, which caused scar tissue and stuff. So I've got scabs that are up there that dislodge and lodge and all that stuff. So I've been feeling a lot better, and I've actually had a lot more energy, and I'm actually doing a lot more stuff in my spiritualism and dealing with learning a lot more through another friend, Joanna Hunter, but I'm not going to get into that, but she does a lot of stuff, and I'm working with the light web with her and all that stuff. I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have that freedom of being able to feel rested in the morning. So that's another thing. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Okay, we're going to keep going this. Now, getting back to what I said before, and this is why I know I'm in the middle of something, because I keep going back and forth, and I'm trying to be logical and stuff, but it's not, because the timelines are, like, changing, and the energy is, like, not straight line, you know, like, bloop, 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 bloop. It's like, whee, and we're gonna go back, and we're gonna go forward, and we're gonna kind of mingle in the middle. It's very strange. It's actually something I've never actually really necessarily felt before. This energy that's coming in now. It's very, very fluid, I guess, is the only word I can explain. There's no, like, before you would be like, okay, this energy, you know it's coming in, and you know it's going to pass through once it's passed through, and you know you're done with the transmission or the download or the upgrade, whatever you want to say, and it's got defined start and end point type of a thing. This is more like, it's just kind of like a little bit here, a little bit there, we're going to go forward, we're going to go backwards, we're going to see how it feels, and, like, it's very fluid. And then what I was also saying is that basically I'm jumping timelines. So basically going back to my story in the beginning was, most people that don't know my backstory, I went to go pick up my brother one time, and I did not like driving, so I got this big fear of driving things, and it was during a thunderstorm and stuff like that. And he had an episode where he had to go to the hospital, and I had to drive his car from his college campus back home here to my town. It was only like a half an hour away, but at that time I was really, really upset about having to drive the car that I didn't want to, because it put me in a position where I was really upset. So I'm sitting there driving it, and, you know, my grandmother's with me, and it's, you know, all fine and dandy, and she's like, you got this, you know, it's just here to there, it's no big deal. And she was kind of laughing because it started thunderstorming, and she's like, of course, on the one time you have to do something, it starts thunderstorming. So basically I was joking, I said, yeah, this is the universe telling me that, you know, I'm going to throw everything at you and you can still do this. So while we're just kind of chatting, and she's chatting to kind of calm me down, we get to a stoplight, and we stop at the stoplight, and immediately, within seconds, I get a vision. Now, I don't understand whether or not this was my future, this is my past, or whatever, but it's coming up now. And in that vision, I was in a car, driving, and I could see myself in third person from behind me, like it was like the driver's seat, but I was in the back of the driver's seat, but I was also myself. It was really weird. And basically, I'm looking through the rearview mirror at two of my kids, supposedly my kids, in the back seat. Now, one is in the middle in a little car seat thing, and the other one's a little bit older, and he's in the passenger side in the back. And they're kind of fussing a little bit, and I said, hey, can you give your brother this binky and to calm him down or whatever? And I can remember the seat, the little car seat that the one boy was in. And they were both boys, and they had blue eyes and blonde hair. Now, this is interesting because I have brown eyes and brown hair. It's a dominant trait of my family, so that was interesting. And so then I was like, okay, and this car seat was a pattern of, you know how normally it's white clouds on a blue background? Well, it stuck out because it was actually blue clouds on a white background. And I was like, this is so random. And I actually wrote it in my journal years ago. This was years ago. And so I wrote all this down, and I felt like these are the things that I had said to the kids, it's okay, we're going to see Daddy right now. Now, granted, if anybody know me, I'm not in a relationship right now, or I'm not, you know, I'm not married, I don't have kids or anything. My older brother has 3 kids now, and they have blue eyes and brown hair. Or blonde hair. Well, not blonde hair, they have brown hair. But it's like kind of a thing. Like, because it was like dirty blonde stuff. So I thought maybe as my older brother was having his kids that it could have been me driving my nephews to their father at some point. You know, just saying, okay, whatever. But now, today, it didn't feel like that. When I'm driving and all because I resonated with the car. And the car itself, because it was weird. After that happened, and then I saw the back of the car, and it was a green, like a forest green color, Subaru Forester. Like, legitly Subaru Forester. And at that time, I've never dealt with any kind of Subaru Foresters or thing. My aunt had them when I was 14, I was 12, and I went to Idaho to see my aunt, and we went road tripping. It's the only time I've dealt with anything like that. But this was me around the age I am now, maybe a couple years, maybe 5 years difference. But I had this dream a while back. And I didn't make the connection. And I'm sitting here going, well, this is kind of weird. This is very weird. But I kind of put it away because I'm like, okay, the one guy that I thought I could, he had blue eyes and blonde hair. So I'm like, oh, well, okay, he just got married a couple years back. So I'm like, it's not going to be him. So I just kind of didn't even think about it. I just let it go away because I'm like, well, if that's what it was supposed to be, it's not going to manifest because he's married now and I'm not, and it's not going to work. So then I didn't think about it. Well, now all of a sudden these Subaru Foresters are showing up like constantly in the last 2 days. Like, it's weird. So anyways, I'm sitting here going, and I get these feelings, and I'm getting these memories, so to speak, but I don't even know if they're memories or if they're memories from a past life that these or if it's a past timeline that was congruent with the timeline I'm living in this physical thing right now talking to you, and if they're all merging together, and if I'm being integrated with the other parts of myself, basically the split parallel universe selves, because those other alternate universes are collapsing, and we're all being brought into universes and timelines that are of our higher and best self, because the earth and everybody is awakening, and we're all speeding up, so to speak. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what is happening. I do know that this is definitely something that Spirit wants me to be aware of. And I was just going to come on here and say, I know it's going on almost like 13 minutes, but I want to come in here and say if anybody else is having similar situations or things, basically, don't be alarmed. There's something definitely working on in the ethers. There's something happening. I'm not 100% sure what it is yet, but I definitely feel it. And as an empath and with developing my gifts a little bit more, as I go on, it's just, I know something big is happening, kind of. Like, and it might also be the fact that this this living situation I'm in right now is probably about to change. So I need to, like, they're giving me, like, red flags saying, okay, not necessarily, I wouldn't call them red flags. They're kind of more like green and blue flags, I guess you'd say. It'd be like, all right, you know, you got to start thinking about your financial situation and bringing in the money and being okay. And then you got to start thinking about, like, where you're going to go, and, you know, don't be freaked out if this big thing happens, because you're still secure, you're still safe. It's for the betterment of you, so that you can get out there and do what you were brought here to do, and not be, like, I would say in the position I'm in right now, I'm kind of limited in how I can share and help others, because I can't exactly go and meet people because of the whole other thing, I can't meet people one-on-one necessarily anyways. But I can't, like, feel the freedom that I need to feel or to do, because I'm taking care of my grandfather and he needs to be attended to. So, and the fact that my job is limited in the amount of income I can come in and things like that, these are all, like, different pieces of the puzzle. And now I think what's happening is they're kind of lifting. And the situation is out of my control basically, because it's also connected to my older brother, who's the POA of the whole thing, and he's got more say than I do, so I don't know what he's going to be doing, because if he makes one move, it's going to completely change the dynamic I have here, and I will have to make alternate connections and changes to my own situation. But there is a lot of different things that are going on now, and the energy is very, very, I wouldn't say palpable, but it's like a calm, like, I feel like, hey, something's definitely coming, but not to be super scared about it. Not to worry, and to invite it in with loving care and, like, I don't know, just to love it and to accept it and be like, okay, this is going to be cool. This is actually going to be fun and exciting. It's a little bit scary because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where you're going to go or what you're going to do, but things are just going to fall in your lap and you'll be okay. Just got to trust that the universe will take you where you need to go at the time that it needs. So I just want to come on here, like, I had to stop my Johanna Hunter replay thing here to tell you guys, because I'm just sitting here going, I need to tell you guys this. I need to get out here. I mean, this is the first time I've actually felt drawn to actually stop what I'm doing and explain it to you guys, because I've had moments along the whole entire thing where I've had these things, but then within 10 minutes they're gone. So by the time I try to do a live video, it's gone, so I can't really explain the situation that's going down. But just coming home, it was solid. And I've been having a lot of vivid dreams now the last couple days, and I've been getting up at 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, which I never do. I usually sleep until like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning. And then I've been I usually go to sleep at like 8 o'clock when I put Gramp to bed at like 10, depending on what it is. If I feel really bad, I go to bed at 8. If I stay up, I'll wait until 10, because he usually goes to 10. I've been waiting until like 11 o'clock, 12. So this is very, very interesting, and it's definitely changing, and there's changes going on in my work too. I'm getting a different boss too, so I don't know how that's going to work either. And there's a lot of other things that are playing outside of my immediate situation too, in the political climate, and the social climate, and the just spiritual climate, all of it. It's all happening, and it's all manifesting. So if you're like weirded out and you're like, okay, I just saw this and this happened twice and now I've had this here, or if you're like, okay, well, I had this phantom smell and it reminds me of this person, and why is this person coming back into my life, or this, and that, pay attention to those signs and symbols. They mean different things to each person, and whatever's happening to you is happening to you for a reason. It's just being more aware of why it's happening and what it's happening, and if you don't know yet, it's okay. You just gotta sit down and figure it out. All right, I gotta go. I gotta get in a phone call. All right, bye guys. Love you. Love, light, and blessing. Bye.